Hello, Tampa. It is Saturday morning right here on the Big 8 AM 820, and it is time to Let's Go Low with your host, Jeff Stanislow from Golfers Unite, and our friend with the Caddie Corner, Payne Stewart's former caddy, Mr. Mike Hicks. How you doing this morning, Mike?
Doing great, Jeff. Hope you are, buddy.
So we had a big weekend last weekend, the Open, where some incredible stuff happened. Now you've been there, and we'll talk a little bit about that further. But Ryan Fox, who kind of came out of nowhere, took the 154th Open at 10 under. So let's just get your initial response to what happened this weekend at the Open at the Royal Birkdale.
Well, I mean, it obviously, I think you had 3 or 4 62 shot, but then 10 under par won the tournament. So it just showed you that, if you got it going, you could go low, but if you weren't spot on, you weren't going to play well. So, with that many 62s being shot, you would have thought that the winning score would have been a lot lower, right? And kudos. I mean, Ryan Fox, if you look back at his record, I mean, if the guy gets there, he's not scared. He closes the deal, So,
yeah, he putted. He played with authority on that back nine, like it was just like he was in a zone or something.
Well, he went for it. He's got a unique golf game. It's his golf swing, it's his golf game. And when he has control of his golf swing, he's free enough and has enough self-confidence and belief in himself that he goes for it and he gets it done. And obviously, this past weekend, he had control of his ball and, he went for it and he won the tournament. So, I mean, felt bad for Sam Burns. I mean, he keeps getting there and just not able to close the deal. I mean, look, you got to get fortunate. He played well enough to win the tournament, but somebody just played, a couple of strokes better. So, heck of a tournament, though. Enjoyed watching it. It's my favorite one of the year. So I thought it was a great Open.
Yeah, I agree. It was a great Open. This is Jeff Stanislow. You're listening to Let's Go Low right here on AM 820, the Big 8 radio in Tampa. Thank you for all your support, Tampa. This is brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com, all new website. Check it out. We got the hookup board. Lots of great content for you, golfersunite.com. So, Mike, kudos to Fox as we talked about, but what a great, I mean, you always talk about the weather and the conditions, and they had a beautiful weekend there this weekend. And so, I would like to get your thoughts on just how that played. I mean, you mentioned, 4 62s, and these guys just kind of tore it up on occasion. But, the weather was beautiful.
The weather was beautiful, and the RNA, I got to tip my hat to them too. They could have made the place unplayable because the fairways were faster than the greens, so they kept water on the greens to make them receptive. So it played a lot easier than it could have. Had they let the greens get the color of the fairways, then you would have had, probably barely under par winning that tournament. So, but I thought it was a great setup. The rough was burnt out. And I found it really interesting too that, with even the fescue being burnt out, these guys were still spinning it. I mean, there was no, there weren't many jumpers, and the coming out of that fescue, the guys were stopping it on the greens, and like I said, they did keep the greens relatively soft the whole week. So it was a good setup, and that's it was exciting. I mean, you didn't know what was going to happen and who was going to win until the last shot, right? So it was a great open, and like I said, hats off to the RNA. I thought it was a great setup.
Yeah, it was. We're talking with Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's former caddy. If you guys want to check out Mike Hicks, you can visit his website. It is MikeHicksGolf.com. He's also available on Instagram at Mike Hicks Golf. So Mike is doing, professional events, product reviews, consulting. If you want him on your bag, maybe for a VIP golf outing or something like that, he's open to that. Check out MikeHicksGolf.com for those. So Mike, let's talk a little bit more about, the RNA and the Bryson DeChambeau situation. That thing blew up all over the weekend with Bryson being penalized 2 strokes for improving his lie. You've been there on the bag and in sticky situations like that. What are your thoughts? In your mind, was the penalty correct? Bryson held everybody there really late. He got a lot of slack for that. What's your opinion on the most controversial thing that happened on the Open this weekend?
Well, that sort of stuff has been going on forever. So I thought nothing of it when all that was going on. I mean, guys, whether they're doing it knowingly or not, but you'll see that more. You'll see that happen a lot. Guys walking around and, it's not so much they're creating the lie where the ball is, but, in Bryson's case, it was the backswing, right? And he did, but like I said, it happens a lot. Now, whether these guys are consciously doing it, I don't know. But it happens a lot. I've seen it happen many times, and you think nothing of it, really. I mean, and I will say this: there was a clip with U.S. Open champ. Drawing a blank now. Who won the U.S. Open?
Oh, the U.S. Open?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, before we go there, in my opinion, and the way I looked at it is, at the end of the day, Bryson has to go to sleep at night. He's the only one that will know his true intent in regards to getting behind that ball and doing what he did. But you see it happen all the time, like you said. It is, kind of, I thought it was ticky-tack. I mean, personally, it happens. It happens at other Opens, like Wyndham Clark, the U.S. Open.
Wyndham Clark. That's what I was going to say. I mean, they've got it on tape where he takes that one step over the other side of the ball and its foot goes down right behind where his ball is. He takes a practice stroke. Now, to me, that was more egregious than what Bryson did. And I never even noticed what Wyndham did until we saw a replay of it, and I'm like, that's a little obvious what he did there, because why is he going on the other side of the ball to take a practice stroke? And you look where his foot went; its right foot went down right behind his ball. What Bryson did was just, he did some dancing around back there, but like we've said, man, I mean, that stuff goes on a lot more than you would think. I mean, especially when you got that high of grass, where, like I said, where guys are doing it knowingly or not, but it happens more often than people think.
Yeah, this is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to another great episode of the Let's Go Low Show, brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. And we're talking with our friend Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's former caddy. You can find Mike at MikeHicksGolf.com. And we're talking about the Open, which was a fantastic finish. Ryan Fox got it done with 10 under, one clear of Cam Young. And Cam just went lights out earlier in the day. So he was hanging out there all day, getting ready for an opportunity for a playoff. Sam Burns, the 54 hole leader by a couple of strokes, closed with a 72 to finish third, just did not get it done. It started off very difficult, with a few bogeys early on and couldn't come back. Tommy Fleetwood, the local hero there, grew up just a few miles away from Royal Birkdale, finished fourth and had a great showing. But, Fox we talked a little bit about it earlier, but made 4 birdies in his last 6 holes. And then the 2 pars that he made great tee shots and just ended up in a terrible position and was able to, make it happen to make those pars. I mean, I think personally he should have won by a couple strokes easily.
Well, I mean, he won the tournament on Saturday, hitting that shot out of that bunker onto the green. I guess that was 18, where he hit the shot out of the trap. He had 190 yards and he had 168 yards or so to the front of the green. He hit an 8-iron out of that bunker that got to the green, which was phenomenal shot. But, he looked the most comfortable out of everybody on the weekend. He had control of his ball. And, he's got big kahunas. I mean, he got it done by just believing in his golf game. And where everybody else was a little, had a little doubt in their game and just couldn't get it done. I mean, but yeah, I mean, the 18th hole, just so difficult to hit that fairway. And Cam Young had a great drive, just a little off, and then he tried to get greedy out of that bunker, and instead of maybe taking his medicine, hitting one less club to make sure he cleared the lip. But then you have that cross bunker up there in front, so I mean, if you mishit that club, you come up in that bunker. I mean, so really tough situation there for Cam Young, but he played great, and it really looked like for a while there that he was going to post the winning score for sure.
So they call Ryan Fox is now what they call the champion golfer of the year, and got the Claret Jug. I didn't know that title kind of came along with that as winning that. I was like, what's this champion golfer of the year thing?
Yeah.
And it seems like it's something that the Open kind of coined themselves.
Oh yeah. Well, they look at their tournament as the tournament, and I'm a U.S. Open guy. I love it because I've won it twice. Could have won it, multiple times. 4 times at least if Lee Janzen hadn't been born. But that is still the ultimate in golf, in my opinion. Winning an Open championship, especially if you do it at St. Andrews, the home of golf. So they consider themselves the tournament, and in their defense, it is.
Yeah,
all the majors, that's the one. I mean, that's the ultimate in golf, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is Jeff Stanislaw, your host of the Let's Go Low show right here on AM 820, the Big 8. We're talking with Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's former caddy, and I guess being called the champion golfer of the year while it went back to the very first Open at Prestwick in 1860. So they were given the jug and a challenge belt and leather belt and things at the old time, but since it was the first one, that's why they kind of coined it the champion golfer of the year. So pretty cool backstory on that.
Yeah.
Mike, what surprised you? We had controversy with Bryson. Fox got it done. We got just a few seconds left, and we're going to preview this upcoming 3M in our next segment. But anything shocking for you at the Open?
No, not really. I mean, usually when the ground is that firm and that fast, usually the greens are that way too, where they're matching the fairway. So like I said, my hat's off to the R&A for making the greens playable and giving the guys a chance, because it could have been goofy golf had they had the greens as
Right.
fairways. It could have been really a lot of carnage for sure.
All right, come back to our next segment. Right after this, we're bringing Mike Hicks back. We're going to talk about the 3 Open at TPC Twin Cities. This is Jeff Stanislaw, your host of Let's Go Low, brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com.